Stepping up to the couch, it's Brian, who led the league last season in cracked screens. But with his new athletic case, it looks like that won't be the case. Touchdown, Brian!
The goal of every NBA team is to win the finals and bring a championship home to their city, but in order to do so, it typically takes years of preparation, hard work, and planning in order to get the right pieces around each other that have both the right amount of talent and camaraderie and team chemistry that champions have. Through the draft, free agency, and trades, NBA front offices have a ton of work cut out for them when trying to put this all together, but when they do, the payoff is so great. This brings us to the topic of today's video, where, as you can tell from the title of the video, we're going to be talking about the Boston Celtics and how they went about putting together a squad that, according to many, was supposed to contend for years to come after building it for a few years after the Big Three era, but now their future is looking a bit fuzzy, and I'll explain why. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now, with that being said, let's begin. The Celtics began constructing this team in 2013 after they lost to the New York Knicks in the first round of that year's playoffs, and it had become apparent that the Big Three era was over. Ray Allen had already left to sign with Miami and LeBron James with the Heat. Rajon Rondo was hurt and unavailable for that playoff series because of it, and both Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett had taken a step back in terms of production, and it was obvious that their age was catching up to them. Their days of sitting atop the East were over, so they had a decision to make. They could either ride it out with these guys until they retire and, as a result, be forced to start from scratch, or they could move them and attain as many assets as possible for them. So, obviously, they went with the second option. The Brooklyn Nets, it just so happens, were beginning to invest heavily in a win-now mindset with Deron Williams, Brook Lopez, and Joe Johnson already on board. Seeing that Pierce and Garnett were available, they sent Boston a monstrous trade offer that was too good to turn down, which, looking back, has infamously become known as one of the worst trades of all time. The Nets gave the Celtics 3 first-round picks and a ton of expiring contracts in exchange for Garnett, Pierce, and Jason Terry. Long story short, that Nets team didn't live up to expectations, and they crumbled quickly, leaving themselves with a bottom-feeding team with no draft picks to reward their terrible play. Instead, the Celtics reaped all of the benefits of the Nets being awful, and with those picks, acquired several highly talented, high-upside players. The 2 main players drafted with those picks were Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who have both flashed potential to be great as they continue to grow over the years. The Celtics didn't just build through the draft, though. 2 years ago, the Celtics signed defensive savant and stretch big man Al Horford to a 4-year contract, and last year they signed rising star Gordon Hayward to a 4-year max contract as well. Plus, the biggest move they made solidified this team into legit title contenders was when they traded fan favorite Isaiah Thomas and the 3rd Nets pick they got from that previous package for legit superstar Kyrie Irving. Those 5, along with the bench filled with talent that they put together, should have begun their reign last year, but unfortunately, things got off to a rocky start immediately. Gordon Hayward got injured in the very first game of the season, and missed the entire year as a result. This gave their young players an opportunity to step into a bigger role and speed up their development by getting more experience. Tatum was a pleasant surprise, Brown was showing glimpses of being a good two-way player in the future, and the team was clicking. They still got the 2 seed last year even without Hayward, but then they suffered yet another big blow as Kyrie Irving went down with an injury and missed the entire postseason as a result. Still, the Celtics continued to persevere, and they advanced all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they took LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games before ultimately losing. Still though, that was a lot further than anyone thought they would get, and with Kyrie and Hayward coming back this year, many during the summer thought they were in for a massive season. In the famous words of Bill Simmons, he thought the team would win 67 games this year and absolutely dominate the Eastern Conference. Not only that, but with everyone back healthy, under contract for a few more years, and enough assets to potentially flip into yet another major star, they were expected to become a powerhouse for years to come. Then, flash forward to now, and not only has none of that been the case, but as the main topic of this video states that I'm about to get into, their future as contenders is in real danger of ending a lot sooner than many expected, and there are a lot of factors contributing to why that is. First of all, they haven't exactly been the dominant team everyone expected them to be. They are currently tied for third place in the Eastern Conference with the Sixers, and are behind both the Raptors and the Bucks, and have suffered some really bad and questionable losses throughout the year. This has led to a ton of frustration within the team, and a large majority of it has been from their supposed leader, Kyrie Irving. It's been reported that back in his Cavalier days alongside LeBron James, Irving didn't really like being treated as the little brother of the team. He wanted to be the alpha of a team and take on the challenge of leading a team himself, which was a big part of why he requested a trade in the first place. He's been getting the opportunity to do that this year, but it hasn't been as easy as he probably thought it would be, and he has even apologized to LeBron on the phone recently because of his attitude towards his role when they played together, and acknowledged that the job LeBron had on the team was a lot harder than he thought. That got a lot of people talking, and rumors started to swirl that Kyrie was possibly trying to open things up for a possibility to reunite in LA. Irving is a free agent this summer, and while he said before the year that he wanted to re-sign in Boston, that tune has changed in recent days. While talking to the media, he was asked whether his mindset about re-signing with the Celtics has changed, and his answer was to, and I quote, ask him on July 1st, which is the first day of free agency, and that he doesn't owe anybody shit. That's very concerning for Celtics fans, and the Lakers aren't even his biggest suitors. Also, a few days ago, the Knicks made major headlines when they traded away Kristaps Porzingis, who was supposed to be the face of their franchise, in order to create more cap space. The Knicks now have enough money to spend this summer to add 2 max contracts, and Kyrie is going to be their biggest target. If Kyrie were to dip out this summer and team up with someone like Kevin Durant in New York, then the Celtics are in some trouble. Another facet of their worries is coming from the Anthony Davis saga. Davis has also requested a trade, and the Celtics were planning to submit a trade package for him this summer, since they can't now because of the Rose Rule, but numerous reports have come out and said that because of the uncertainty with Kyrie, the Celtics are not a place that David would sign with long term. Davis's father has even gone on record saying that he doesn't want his son playing there. So if Irving leaves, they are left with Hayward, Tatum, Brown, and Horford. Hayward was supposed to be a star, but the injury has affected his play to the point where he's honestly just not very good anymore. He struggled all year long with only a few games of actual good production, and when you factor in his contract being a max, that's something that's going to plague the team's potential. Al Horford is also getting up there in age. His production has been trending downward for a few years now, and he only has 1 year left on his contract anyway. Jaylen Brown has started to pick up his play lately, but on the year as a whole, he's taken a step back from last year and is no longer as valuable of an asset as he once was. As has been the recurring theme with these 3 players I've mentioned, Jason Tatum may be scoring more, but he's a lot less efficient in doing so, settling for tough mid-range fadeaway jumpers and not making smart shots, and he really hasn't developed much as a playmaker, making his game a bit one-dimensional. Now, this group isn't awful by any means, but it isn't a championship contender either, which was the goal from the start. The fate of the team moving moving forward falls heavily on Kyrie's shoulders, and if he does leave, then all the progress that they've made over the last 5 years would take a huge hit, and their path to a championship would become a lot more difficult. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.